to the second episode of the PR Coach. First, let me thank all of you who participated on the first episode. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the likes. And most importantly, for those of you who subscribed. I hope that there'll be more subscriptions after today's episode. This is the purpose of this thing, really, to share information about this industry that I think I know fairly well. So I hope it works for you. So today I thought we should look at the media statement. You can call it a press statement, media statement, but you know, that thing that people issue to make an announcement of one form or another to the media. Now, in its purest form, a media statement is something is happening in your organization, you want to tell the media about it. That's in its purest form. But what really should be in a media statement? I think what we should do away with is the word statement, because it's almost like we're speaking in officialdom when we say statement. It's as if we're instructing the media about something they must be reporting on. Now, somebody who was a mentor of mine many years ago said, even in public relations, ultimately, what we do is to provide the media with stories. So even your media statement should be a story. I used to tell people in training that you need to write your media statement in such a way that a lazy journalist must find it so good that all they do is to put their name on top of your statement. You would have achieved a lot. But how do you achieve that? Well, there are basic rules. One, simplicity. If there is one thing the media cannot stand, is confusing stuff, is gobbledygook, is officialdom, is jargon. Make it simple. Make them understand first time. Two, make it quick. Do not write 20-page media statements. Do not write 20-paragraph media statements. If you can fit a media statement into one page, you've done well. I say maximum 1.5 page. Even then, at 12 point of a font, 1.5 line spacing, 1.5 pages is enough. If you have more, we live in the age of the World Wide Web, the internet. If you have more, at the bottom you write, for more information, go to www.kingmaker.co.za /media statements /salary increases, if that's what your statement is all about. Then they can read more details there about comparisons with other worlds, about how increases and percentages have worked over the time. Do not give information that is unlikely to make it into your story. If the story is about salary increase, start with the salary increase. Now, what do journalists write, or how do they write stories? They focus on what we call the 4 W's and the H. Who, what, when, where, how. If you've got space, you can do why, the 5 W. But mostly it's 4 W's and the H. So get quickly with your story. Go to the heart of the story in your first paragraph. The Kingmaker Consulting has decided today that it will increase salaries of its employees by 4%. Full stop. Your intro must not be more than 30 words long. That's also how it works in the media. Get quickly to the story. In that first paragraph, even if that's all they read, they must get the gist of the story. Do not start by saying, we Transnet as the biggest African logistics company with more than 3,000 employees. So what? What has that got to do with the story? What is the story? So if you're going to communicate your story with the media, get to the story. So get to 4 W's. If you've got a how, tell them how. If there's something that needs a how. If there's a why, tell them the why, but make it second or third paragraph. If you're going to quote someone, don't start your media statement with your quote. Start with the issues. Who, what, when, where. And you must deal with the when in your first paragraph, because we want to know that this is timely. We want to know that this is current. Do not tell us a story that happened even yesterday, worse still last week, more horribly even a month ago. It must be current. So those 4 W's must be answered in the first paragraph. Somebody must get your story, even if they don't read the whole of the story. And then, if you're going to use a quotation, 1 quote is enough. Even then, make it brief. It must be a quote that explains the story. It cannot be a quote that is interested in promoting your organization or stuff like that. It must be a quote that supports the gist of the story. Keep it in quotation marks. Make sure that you quote the right person, write their name properly, and get out. And then emphasize more facts in the next 2-3 paragraphs and get out of the story. If they want more information, there is a name of a spokesperson always there, or lead them to the website. Do not waste time with, what do I call it? I mean, don't write historical facts, really. Don't write a book. Nobody is interested in a book. There is so much limited space in the media. I don't know if you guys know this, that a typical radio story, a radio news story, is about 20 seconds long. How much do you fit in a 20-second long story that has to have a quotation, that has to have a sound clip if it's on radio, and still get to the gist of the story? So if you think about it, if you can't fit your story into a 20-second clip, it's already too long. Because that's why you complain that the media missed the story. Because you wrote forever and you're hoping that they'll get to paragraph 84 and really find that at paragraph 84 you are increasing the salaries of your employees. But that's the story. Let's start there. Start with the increase. You can get to the history later. You can give it as background information. But what is most important is to answer the 4 W's much quickly in your media statement. But for me, I also believe that if you can and if you will, stay away from the media statement. If you're going to work with the media, the most important thing is what I call media relations. You must build relationships with the journalists that are interested in your industry, in your organization, in your issues. Know them by name, know their numbers, know the alternate numbers, know stuff about them, know what they're interested in. Nothing is more powerful than picking up the phone and say, Sipho, I have this story for you. 9 out of 10 times Sipho will say, who else have you given the story to? I mentioned this last week. Because Sipho competes with Pearl. He competes with Mkize next door. He competes with Rams, a talk with Rams. So he wants to know that he's got exclusivity to the story. And do not panic, because I know we panic, you're thinking, but my story is not going to be covered, by most people. Can I give you a secret? Most exclusive stories get more coverage than the stories that are given to everybody else. Because once it gets published in Ilanga, Natal, and it's a big story, everybody else wants to follow up. Then you get more chance of being covered by other media. The SABC will call, Newsroom Africa will call, the Star will call, the Daily News will call, whoever else is out there will give you a call. Even specialized media will call. Politics Web if it's about politics, Money Web, Talk with Rams will call, because we've seen it somewhere else as an exclusive story. I tend to say that unless it is a story that affects everyone's life at the same time, like the increase of petrol, of electricity, interest rates, there you don't want exclusivity. Everybody must know, and I'll tell you, even if the media compete, if tomorrow the interest rates go up by 3%, everybody else is going to publish it. They don't care that everyone is going to have it, because they know it impacts all of them. If the president is ill or he passes on or whatever it is, you can do that. You can get away with that murder. But honestly, if there's some amazing development that's happening in your organization and you really want a powerful story, you are most likely to get a big news story in one publication and everybody else follows up. But if you make a media statement, you're going to get all those small clippings in every paper and you're going to think, but they missed out on the story. Well, you missed out on the game. The game is to respect that these guys compete and they want an exclusive story, but they want a story. They don't want a statement. They don't want your propaganda. They want a story. You need to know how to craft your story. And by the way, this is an art. Writing is an art. It's not about facts and figures. It's about making it readable and exciting. It's about using the right words. And I'm not even talking about sensationalism, but how you write it, it must grab people's attention first time, even if they only have 1 minute or 20 seconds, as I said on radio. So that's how you do your media statement. And again, if you, yes, it will have, it must have a beautiful headline for your media statement, and the headline must relate to the story. Stay away from mentioning your organization. This obsession with wanting to mention your organization in the headline, in the intro, on the letterhead, it's already there. We know it's Transnet. We know it's Kingmaker. Stop over mentioning your organization. Get to the story. We will know it's your story whether or not you mention your organization's name. It is not necessary. But the writing must be so crisp, not colorful, but exceptionally artistic, because journalism is an art. News writing is an art. So do not just write it because you want to write it. If you do not have the right person to write it, I beg you, outsource it. Get people who will write it for you and guarantee better coverage. So that's my tip for today. It will work for you if you do it the right way. Go look around. Go check out some of the best media statements. In fact, I'll give you an example. Go look at the media statements that are issued a lot by the National Prosecuting Authority. I think they issue amazing media statements. Learn from them. Learn how they do it and try to emulate them. But as I say, if you can't do it, outsource. It's not very expensive. In fact, it costs you more to keep on issuing statements that do not get coverage in the media. It's cheaper to pay somebody and get the coverage, because that's what you want, isn't it? So follow the page, like us, subscribe to the PR Coach. We'd like to have this conversation every week. I'd like you to send questions and queries at pr@kingmaker.co.za. It's pr@kingmaker.co.za. You can also comment here. We can always have a conversation, but the more we talk, the better. Ask me questions. Give me more topics to address. If there's something you don't understand, something you saw somewhere else, if you saw some conflict somewhere that you want me to understand about how the media works, or from a PR point of view, communication, from reputation management point of view, ask the PR coach. I'll gladly give it to you. Until next time,